Open CMD under the API folder. API folder you can create and then open the CMD in API. Create a folder API and under the API folder open the CMD. Now under this API folder, we write here code space dot enter. Code space dot enter. VS Code should open. API folder. VS Code is open. In this folder, first what we'll do, when JavaScript communicate with the server will give you the response as text and server will give the response as JSON data. Okay, when the client will send a request to backend, the backend will give the data in the form of text or in the form of JSON. Now, if data is coming from the backend in the form of text, how JavaScript will handle? And again, if JavaScript, if the backend, if response is coming in the form of JSON, then how JavaScript will handle? So first example based on text, and then next example based on JSON. In API folder, create one file index.html. Index.html. Next, in this index.html file, head we can use, and then a script we can use. Okay. JavaScript. That's it. API to handle the text response. To handle the text response. Now you have option here, go live, check once. This option is coming. Go live option is there. You will click on that, go live. This will open in any browser by default. This page will open. This option, college, go live option was here. You are supposed to click on that. Automatically, it will open in any default browser. Some IP number is IP address is coming along with the port number 5500. So now your JavaScript is running not in directly browser. It is running in the some kind of. It's running through live server. This should be inside the body tab. To communicate from the front end and back end, your JavaScript must run in a live server. Directly JavaScript will not communicate. It's need a live server. Through live server only, on live server will communicate with other laptop. Now in this file, Let's add some buttons. Call home. Next button. About us. Next button. Vectors. Next one more button. Our services. Next one more button. Something gallery. Chicken browser. You will see this page will be refresh automatically. You don't have to reload manually. Since live server is running, whenever we modify anything inside the page, automatically page will be reload. Live server will be reload automatically. After writing align center, you can see it's got changed automatically. Okay, now come write another division where we'll display the response data. The response will come from the server. So which response come from the server? Where will display? Write ID equal to API data. ID equal to API data. So whichever the data will come from the backend, that data will display under this particular division. ID is called API. One line of CSS also you can write. For that, API data has API data width and margin. Width is somewhere 70% and margin what? It will print in the center of the screen under the 70% of area. Okay, so we can write here one line called no data. You understand where is that division? Okay, so hope modification is done. Page look like this. This break is not applying anywhere. Okay, one BR we are given. Let me give one more BR. Okay, so arrange your HTML. Then we'll discuss next for where to write JavaScript and for what purpose we need to write the JavaScript. Okay, so HTML is ready for all. Now two file will create. One file about, another file called home. And after that we'll write the JavaScript code. So write one file called about dot. This is HTML file. We are trying to understand how the page function will work on that. About.html, and one more file you create that will be called a contact.html. Okay, to file about we created. One was supposed to create home and about. Okay, no problem. We can create one more file, home.html. Home about contact to create. Then we'll add some few lines under the HTML files. Suppose in home file, we can run. We can add welcome home. Will not start from HTML. I'll guide why not from HTML. Only tags have to write. Any text you can add. So this will be no problem. Okay. This is for under the home file. We can add some more lines similar under the about also. Okay, so home file is ready. In about also you can write something. Next one. About this, one paragraph will be okay. You can write. Okay, so home file is ready as well as about file is ready and index file is ready. The target is when you click on home, the data from home file it should come and it should display under this folder, under this division. That's called as a API data. When you click on about, the content from about should come and display under this division. That is called as a API data. So about is the part of index file, but where this about will display, about will not display the individual file. The content of about will display under this division, under the API data. Now API data is already part of body. Body is already part of HTML. So in one file, you cannot write the HTML tag two times. You cannot write the body tag two times. Because of that, under the about file and home file, what we are written? Only the tag we are written. We are not written the body and HTML. Because this much content, the content of home will come, the content of home will come and it will display under this division. Correct? Content of about will come and it will display under this division. So where we are changing the content? Under the division. You are not changing entire page. You are changing only the part of the page. Okay. And that also data come from where? Other file. Not from the current file. Data is going to come from other file. Now to read the data from other file, we require some extra JavaScript function and all. For that we have this function called as a fetch function. Using fetch function, we can send a request to get the data. Using fetch function, we can send the request to add the data, delete the data, update the data, everything is possible. Okay. So what you will do? You will come under the button now. First button on click equal to call the function called get home. Second button click on click equal to get about. Okay, get home and get about. Now two function we have to write. One function will be get home, another function will be get about. Function get home. Okay, get home, get about. In get home function, we can write one function called fetch. Under fetch function, we have to give the path, which file, what is the URL, and from where you want to read, where you want to send the request. So we want to read one file from the current folder. That file name is home.html. So you can write directly home.html since it is within the same folder. So fetch function will send a request to home.html. Fetch function will send a request to which file? Home.html. Now from home.html, when the request will go to home.html, home.html will send a response. What will be the response? H1, paragraph and paragraph. This will be the response from the home file. So that response again fetch function will not capture. We have to apply another function. That function called is a then function, and you can write function is nothing but method. After method is written called is a promise. Okay, so it is called as a promise function that is going to capture the response. Fetch function send the request. After sending the request, if the particular URL found, from there some response will come. That response will be captured by another promise function that is called then. You can write a variable called xyz. So whatever the response come from the home file, it will capture under the function called then under the parameter called xyz. Now from xyz you cannot print directly. Okay, let's put an alert here and see whether it's happening or not. Alert call xyz. Alert xyz. Alert xyz. Click on home button and see any alert. College response is coming in the form of object. Means that is your data only, but it is something encrypted data. It is not actual original data. Okay, so what we have to do? We have two functions. One function is called a JSON function, and another function is called a text function. So JSON function will help you to convert your current object into array object, and text function will convert your current data into the text format. Now what will happen? Server is not giving us the data in the form of response JSON. Server is giving, server in the sense this file, the file you are requesting. So this file is giving the data in the form of this text and HTML. So to capture the text and HTML kind of the response, you have to use here a variable called, not a variable, function xyz.json, xyz.text, xyz.text. So what you are doing, the when we have sent the request to the server, server has given the response, but that response was encrypted response. That response you are converting into the text mode. But at the same time, what happened? Second then function, first then function capture the response. After capturing the response, with the help of either text method or with the help of JSON method, text method will convert into text and JSON method will convert into array object. So what is our requirement? Our requirement is what content was available under the home file that we want to recover back. So since the response is coming in the form of text, so you have to use here text method. And after using the text method, your content is decrypted. Your content is original content is ready now. But first then function will not give the data. It has converted, but it is still holding. We have to apply again second then function. The second then function will give us the actual content of your file that is coming from the backend. So I'll write here actual data or maybe original data. Original data is a variable, it can be anything. Then you alert here call original data. It will give you actual content of your text file. Home.html file which request you are sending, and from there whichever the response will come, that will get exit via the original data variable that we can access for the alert or for anything. Check once now. Okay, so are we getting any alert? Alert should be actual content of your say, home file. Alert should be the actual content of the home file. This alert data, whichever the original variable you have written, this original variable we need to assign this one for the API data with the help of document dot get element by ID, which ID API data dot inner HTML original data.
Sir, can't we write this document.get element inside second then itself?
You can try it. Try it and let me know. Okay, so working. When you click on home, the content from home it will come and display here. Same way, we can try for about also. Function. Get about. All code will be similar. Only the file name will be changed. only the file will get changed. Remaining will be similar. Both should work. How many about? Data is coming from the text file. Data is coming from the text file, something like this. On load, here you can call any of the function. On load, you can call a function called home, get home. So whenever your page will be reload by server, page will not come blank. By default, content from home will come every time. By default, content from home will come. Okay, written. Now you say by default, welcome home. If you refresh the page also, anytime by default, home will be there. On load, this function will call get home and content will appear. Even button click also it will keep change. Right? So let me check. Working for how many people? Is the simplest way to call the fetch function. It has many parameters that we will be seeing. But first get idea on how to read the content from a static file. Okay, so this two file is working. Two buttons. Now we have three more buttons. Contact about service. So contact file is ready. We can add something in that. Contact us. Something we can add here. 1-2 paragraph. It is a practice of how to read the a static content from the different file using the JavaScript function. Okay, so contact is ready. You will write a function similar for contact, get contact, and then try reading the data from contact file. Next, on click of contactors, on click equal to will call a function call get contact. Our service on click will call a function call get service. Gallery on click will a function call get gallery. Okay, and now you can write remaining function and create remaining pending files and call here get contact. Contact I have on file. Now this will work. Okay, contact file is loading. Now remaining two function what we have, these two functions. Since those both functions are going to read a static file only, even these three also reading the static file. So why can't we make a function with parameters? So using one function only we can manage both. So I'll modify little this function called get file. And here also I'll change the function called get file. And in that first one, we'll send the parameter service.html. And in the second one, we can send call gallery.html. Service.html as well as gallery.html. The file will be same, function is same, file name is different. Now this file name will become a parameter and it will call the from the same function it will call different file. So you write it, I'll write the function here. Get file, get file, file name, file name. You can first alert it the file name. File name you can alert first. And check now. Both button click, different file names should come as a alert. Different file names should come as a alert. Different file name is coming as a alert. Something like this. File name is service.html and here file name is gallery.html. Next, after that, you will write here again page function, and under the page function, without double quote, you will pass this one as a file name. Now file name will be different. When we send the request, file name will not be the same. It will be as a different. If the file is exist in the server, then it will read and display. If not exist, then it will say file not get. Again, then function we can write, and capture in any variable and convert into the text. Response.text. Then again file data. Here file data and response both are variable. It can be anything, but text is not a variable. It is a predefined function. If you are receiving the text data, you will use .text. If you are receiving as a JSON data, you will use .json. .text and .json. Okay, next after this, from there, whatever the response will come, it has to assign to the API data. It should get assigned to API data. Two files you have to create. One will be service, another will be gallery in the current folder. Then using same get file function, we can read the data from both the file and pass to the API data as a container. Okay, so I'll create the file service.html. You also create the file service and gallery. Next one. Our services. Okay, similar way. Gallery file should be there. GA and LERY. Our gallery. Okay, so hope should work for everyone. If now last two should work based on single function. First three is working based on different function with no parameter and with parameter. Code will be less. One function is able to manage for both based on file name. Right? Next, this is for the HTML. How you are reading the content from the HTML file. If the server will give the response HTML, then you will use the text function, or server is going to give the response in the form of JSON. You have to use the JSON function. For that, another function will write where we'll try to read the content as a JSON. So ready till here? If working till here, then we can write the next something. Okay, very good. Next file, next not different file, same file, but implementation will be for JSON server. JSON data will try to read from the JSON file. Now write another function, one more button here. Give call user, and it will not be based on any parameter. We can write here to get user. Okay, then get user, create a file called user.json. User.json. In user.json, we will keep the data in the form of array. It will treat as a JSON because when you call this file will give you the content as a JSON. File extension is JSON. So in that you can't write any if else condition. You can't return anything dynamic. Whatever the content will go from here, it will go in the form of JSON itself. So you will write some name, write any user's name you can write. Some name I have written. Okay, so when we call this file will give the data as a JSON. So text function will not use over there. We will be using the JSON function. JSON will return the array and that array will read through the map function and display inside the page. Okay, come to the index.html file again. So we will be sending the request to this JSON file now. User.json file will get the request and from here the content will come in the form of JSON. JavaScript function we have that will convert from JSON to array and then once it's converted into the array, we will use in the map and we can read the data easily. Right? Get user function we have to write. So write a function called get user. Get user. Okay. In get user function again, we need to write the fetch function and send the request to user.json file. Send the request to user.json file. Now user.json file will send you the response. Then will send you the response. That response will not be in the form of array. That response will be as a encrypted response that you can't use directly. So you have to convert the response into, you can say, array. That is called response dot variable dot JSON function. Variable dot JSON function. Next, after this, okay, once it's response.json you have made, then your original data is converted into array, but that array you cannot capture directly. You have to apply the second then function to take the output for the exit process. So we can write here another function called, another variable called user array, and this user array will be your actual data. Alert it user array dot length. Alert to user array dot length. Getting the array length. Last button click, it gives the length as a 9. Now those length of the array, whichever comes, we need to display inside the page. But while displaying inside the page again, you have to use some kind of listing function to read that and display in the form of HTML. We'll create a variable, temp variable, temp. You can also use the let here. Okay, temp variable is created. Now under the temp variable, we will keep pushing the element after running the map function. Remove the alert and write here user array dot map. Full name as well as index. So full name what we wrote, again it's a variable. From user array, individual name will go to the full name. From user array, individual name will go to the full name. And their position will go to the index. So if required to print the index, we can print it. If we don't want to print the index, we can print only the full name. So let's write here temp plus equal to, open a p tag, and under p tag write the full name plus close the p tag. Right? After running the loop, you will be getting the list of paragraph here. Now once the map function get finished, after the map function, we can call document dot get element by id, API data dot inner HTML equal to that temp variable. Temp variable. API data dot inner HTML equal to temp variable. Printing list of users. It will come from the JSON file and print inside the page. CSS and all we can apply. Some CSS we can write on top. It will display properly. So let me know, are you getting the list of? Coming for 2%, remaining. Okay, I'll share you this function in chat. Function is sent in chat. We can write few lines of CSS so that page will look more better. So let's come up. Write the CSS for p tag. Margin we can give some 2%. Padding we can give 1%. 6% is gone. Okay. Now if you are creating 4 blocks in one line, then 25% will come. Or if you are creating 5 blocks in one line, then 20% will come. 20% minus 6%. Okay. So width you can keep as how much? 14%. Background, some color, text color, white color, and font size 50 pixel. Display inline block. Display inline. It should appear. Five photos. Okay, so working. Something wrong. How much width we are given? Something wrong. Margin 2%, okay. Padding 1%, 3%. Width is this much. Display inline block. Shall we increase the width of this 90% or 80%? Oh, because p tag is used everywhere. This is okay. This is coming properly only. But since the p tag we have used everywhere, right? So no problem. We can convert into something else. write a class my user and display only 4 items in one line. So four item 25% minus 6%. So 19% will be the width. Modify this and then add the class. For p tag, you can add the class for my user. Okay, something like this. Now come and write for my user the loop you have run, paragraph class equal to this one, my user. So page will be organized properly. Other page will not affect. Only user will have 4 users in one line. Now this data come from JSON file. As of now, data is not coming from the live server. It's coming from the JSON file. Next example will implement their data will come from the server, live server. Okay. Then we will write after implementing some data from live server, we will set up our own server. There we can read the data, we can post the data, we can edit the data, we can update the data, everything. Okay, all end to end, front end to back end, but the back end will be JSON server. It will not be SQL query on Python or Java, it will be as a JSON server. There from JavaScript we can send, receive, edit, delete everything. Okay. Usually it will be done through the backend server, through the PHP Node.js, but you don't know PHP Node.js, how to implement in JavaScript, right? So in JavaScript, you should know how to send, how to receive, how to update, how to delete. Okay. So we'll not teach you the Node.js part and PHP part or Java part. We'll teach you only JavaScript part. Okay. Remaining URL will be now local URL. In your office, URL will be server URL, but JavaScript logic remain same. URL will get changed. Okay, so see you tomorrow.